Robin Hood Radio presents Stage Right or Not with Michele Willens. Michele is a longtime journalist and herself is a published playwright of several theatrical works. She's a frequent contributor to the Huffington Post, Daily Beast, and the Atlantic websites.
So I am on my final week on the other, as in West Coast, heading back to an up-and-down theater moment in New York. The headline there is that 16 Broadway shows will close in the next 2 months. Now, these include Beetlejuice, 1776, Ain't No Mo, that already is No Mo, Strange Loop, Take Me Out. Now, some, of course, had limited runs, such as Death of a Salesman and Music Man, but some did not. Among those was Almost Famous, which I predicted last we talked. The show just didn't feel necessary, and buzz just wasn't there. Word of mouth does still matter. But there is stuff to watch or listen to. For example, one of my favorite entities, Theater of War, is up again January 7th, starring Willem Dafoe. This one is Philoctetes, as always with this company. Actors read words from Greek classics relating to a certain issue, and then they follow that with discussions with contemporary people. This one deals with the less visible wounds of war. Again, check out Theater of War to learn more. And another long time and important entity is LA Theater Works. Now, this one kicks off the new year with its 17th national tour. That begins January 14th, goes through March 10th, and it's bringing its radio theater hybrid style to 22 performing arts venues across the country. The show this time that they've chosen is Lucy Loves Desi. A funny thing happened on the way to the sitcom. Written by Greg Oppenheimer, he's the son of I Love Lucy creator, producer, and head writer. Lucy Loves Desi is yet another story behind the beloved TV comedy. Well, you've seen the original series, you've seen the Aaron Sorkin movie, and you've probably seen the Amy Poehler-made documentary. Well, here's another take on a couple who apparently never get old. More humor is offered by Frigid New York. That is what the company's called, Frigid, which will present the Funny Immigrants Festival, a stand-up event that features comedians from all over the world. This also starts January 7th and runs through the 14th at the Crane Theater. That's on East 4th Street and under St. Mark's, at St. Mark's Place, both in New York, of course. Tickets are available for advance purchase at www.frigid.nyc. Also notable is a new documentary called Broadway Rising. Now, when the pandemic hit in March 2020, and we all remember where we were, it was a potent sign that all the world was not a stage, so to speak. Following the timeline of Broadway's shutdown and recovery, Amy Rice's documentary includes an impressive array of voices across the industry, tracking how it survived and regrouped. It's sort of like an extended backstage chronicle, except that people didn't know when or how the show would go on. So we watch performers, costumers, producers, musicians, playwrights, even ushers go through the pandemic stages of grief. The subjects are fearful and anxious for themselves and others. Figures including Patti LuPone worry aloud about challenges that are more than a matter of employment. Death also plays a role in Broadway Rising. Highlighted here are the playwright Terrence McNally and the actor Nick Cordero. Among others lost in the last few years, they are too, and their stories were covered quite vividly. Anyway, Off-Broadway continues now, and we have a Titanic, apparently bringing in fans to the Daryl Roth Theater. The appeal of Titanic, spelled Titanique, the appeal seems to be that no two performances are the same. So fans are going again and again. I return soon, so perhaps I'll get on that boat with Jack and Rose. And finally, the stage to screen or screech to stage dance continues. The latest is a film version of Matilda the Musical, formerly a Broadway show, based, of course, on the Roald Dahl book every kid loved, while shuddering in fun fear. As one critic has noted, his writing forever burned with a youthful sense of injustice, and among the many smart decisions the director Matthew Warchus and the writer Dennis Kelly have made in adapting Matilda for the stage, and now the screen, is reimagining their title character as a bit of a proto-doll herself. a bright child bursting with stories that take aim at the adults who trod on her intelligence. That one sounds fun. Again, that's Matilda the musical at the movies. And if you see the new movie, Glass Onion, you may or may not enjoy it. I did, frankly. Others are not so sure. But you will catch the last appearances of two theater legends that we lost last year, one named Lansbury and one named Sondheim. The director of that film, which is essentially a puzzle murder mystery, contacted Stephen Sondheim first, who agreed to do a little bit. And you'll recall he was a puzzle master himself. And then Sondheim helped lasso Angela Lansbury for what turned out to be her final moment on screen. Anyway, so that's it. As we start a new year, I'll be seeing at least 5 shows, my first few weeks back, most off-Broadway. As you know, January is a risky month with few new shows, tourists returning home, the weather unfriendly, etc. But in February, Nathan Lane arrives in a new one, Jessica Chastain in a very old one, Cinderella as created by Andrew Lloyd Webber. So let's hope, Jill, that Broadway will be rising again.
And are you excited?
To go back?
Yeah.
And start watching? Yeah, I kind of am. Sure, the first thing I'm thinking, I think, is Kimberly Aquino, which is still on Broadway. Yeah, or Kimbo. I'm ready. I mean, what can I say? It's New York. It's Broadway.
And are you having any luck getting people to go with you? Because once again, it's a total split where there's a world that's just absolutely going, and then there's a world that's. You're
absolutely right. That's still. There was one woman who's the biggest. She's a friend of mine, and she's the biggest theater fan I know. Matter of fact, she's written a play that's going to come off Broadway. She was so nervous. She never came anywhere. She finally did one with me at the end with a double masked. And now she has COVID. So she said, you know how careful I've been.
Right, but it doesn't connect.
It doesn't, and it doesn't make sense. I have never had it, and you know how many shows I've been to. I went to 17 shows in October. I don't know. I like to think it's my attitude, and may just be the luck of the draw. I don't know, but yeah, there's still people who are nervous, but fewer and fewer, I'd say.
And do you, when you go to these, do you go by yourself, or do you go with someone, or do you go with someone who?
Usually they give me 2 press seats for every show. Occasionally it'll just be one. Public theater only gives one. And I usually try to drag somebody along if they're not nervous. Like I said, it was harder to get people this last year. My husband finally came with me to 2, to see Ray Fiennes and to see Death of a Salesman.
Well, good for him. Brave man.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been interesting. You know, the last show I saw before I left was Some Like It Hot. And I see that's doing really well, and it deserves to. That was a really smart, fun show. I don't know if it's on people's 10 best list, which I keep away from doing, by the way. But I saw that right after I saw Almost Famous, both from screen to stage, and Almost Famous didn't work at all. Some Like It Hot did. I mean, who knows, you know?
But Almost Famous, did you see the movie?
Oh, sure.
And did you like the movie?
I liked the movie enough. It was a long time ago.
I know, I understand, but it has a lot to. You get to say Some Like It Hot was a long time ago.
Yeah, much longer ago.
But there was an ebullience to the to Some Like It Hot that was not. I mean, Almost Famous was. I was young and it was fun, and the whole Rolling Stone. When my Rolling Stone came and there was a Cameron Crowe article, I was just like, okay, clear the decks. I've got to go curl up with my magazine, which is something, to this day, I can't fathom how people curl up with their device and like smirk their neck so that they're, I have so many images of being on my floor, my curl ups, I don't even know how to describe the pose. It's on your elbows, right? Legs out, magazine underneath you, glass of water, depending if you're right or left-handed, glass of beverage, libation of choice, to depending on whether you're left or right-handed, and possibly some sort of retriever.
Yeah, no, Almost Famous. I thought might work only because it is music, and I thought if anything could be a musical. But Cameron Crowe, he didn't really adapt it well. I hate to say that. You could be a great journalist and not know how to write a play. Let's face it, Some Like It Hot got really, really big playwrights to do that and rethought that one. And that was a real challenge, obviously, because of the whole new, sexual men dressing as women, blah, blah, blah. And boy, they really rethought it and did it for this moment. And that was smart. And Almost Famous didn't do that, even though some of the performances were good. But it was full when I went, but that was early on, and tourists were going and they remembered the movie. But I don't know. Word of mouth just wasn't good. And, you can bring down a show pretty quickly these days. There's too much money involved, too much money.
Yeah, the word of mouth thing is always, going. I go back to Seussical and the internet. Poor thing didn't have it, and now of course there are junior Seussicals, and I think someone just here. I think someone's doing Seussical, but that was one of the first times that the snarkiness. Just one random person.
Yep.
Being snarky can alter the course of civilization, or certainly Broadway. It's just ridiculous,
No, and that came with, out of town shows, which they don't do as much anymore now. Still waiting for Devil Wears Prada, which got some snarky response when it opened in Chicago. So I'm still waiting to hear when that's opening. I'm sure it will. But, that's not gone away completely, that pre-show snarkiness. But anyway, there's a lot to look forward to. I mean, really, February's going to be a hell of a month.
Stage Right or Not with Michele Willens, produced in the studios of Robin Hood Radio, robinhoodradio.com.